Hi there, I'm Alan, also known as Video Master, and this is my basically first sort of official tutorial about the Cinema 4D and especially about the Octane render. And inside of this sort of video tutorial or a quick guide, we will try to create some abstract geometry with X particles, and we will shade that with in an interesting way with some vertex maps implementation, which is implemented in one of the most recent releases. Heads down for the Ahmed, Octane rendering plugin developer for the Cinema 4D. He did an awesome job on that. And I have to apologize also on my not so well pronounced English and maybe a bit noisy microphone. I will fix that in future releases or future tutorials. So we will create something like this. So we will focus on how to shade this nice fall-off with this sort of emissive texture, and we will use vertex maps and vertex maps follows for that. And let's get started. I will dive right into Cinema 4D right now, and let's first try to create a geometry. You can use any geometry. I will use X particle for that. So X particles, I will choose emitter, and we will emit from let's say from the sphere, of course. I don't need any speed, so I will set speed to 0, and I will use probably a turbulence modifier in order to generate nice curl noise. So for the noise type, I will choose a curl, and I will let's say I will set frequency to 2. Probably increase the blend to about 100 and add to about 2%. Also, I will add trails to my particles just to see how flow looks like. So X particles, trail, and emitter is automatically linked to a trail. So let's fire up the play button. Okay, this looks nice. For now, I have too many particles that will only slow us down. So in XP meter, I will probably choose way less particles, like 200 for now. And okay, I don't need constant emission for this, so I will go into emission. Instead of rate, I will choose shoot. Let's see how this looks like. Okay, too much, probably 500. Let's start with 500. Okay, so I will just decrease the timeline a bit. And this is nice. I will just reduce the scale a bit to about 75%, just to have more variation. Okay, this is nice. I will let it run for about, I don't know, 500 frames or so. I will reset once more just in case if I messed up something. Okay, now it looks nice, and now I need to create the geometry for the from the trail object. At the moment it's only a spline, and I need a solid geometry for that. So I will duplicate the trail and right click current state to object. Current state to object. I can disable everything about this fixed geometry. Now there are two ways to not too many ways to generate the geometry for the, from this. I can use a standard, let's say, you know, sweep NURB. So I can add this trail to a sweep, and I can sweep it with some nice profile. Of course, 200 centimeters is way too much. I'll set it for about 10. This is also too much. 5. Okay, 5 is nice, but it's too thick. 2. Let's try with 2. Yeah, 2 is decent, maybe even less. Yeah, okay. Now I will switch back to the display and the shading lines. Now, what's important with this method of generating vertex maps is sort of consistent vertices placement. So you need to have a pretty dense mesh in order to generate a solid vertex map. And this one is quite nice. So I will go into sweep, I will go into caps, I will disable caps since I don't need them, and probably I can just right click and current state to object. I can disable this sweep now, and this is it. So how to generate vertex maps and how to generate vertex maps fall-off. Kudos for that. That goes to Yader. You can find him on Vimeo. I use this method to generate vertex map fall-off. It's really straightforward, not too complicated, and it's really controllable. So what I need to do is I need to select that object, go into point mode, select all points, press V, go to the select and set vertex weight. I will set it to a 0. And if I zoom a bit, you can see now it's red. So that means that there are no any vertex weight or so. Next thing to do is to right click here, go into character tag and add a pose morph. The parameter that we need to sort of interpret in two different ways is you can find it in the maps. So we need to enable the maps. I will reselect this vertex map tag. I will again press V, go into select, set vertex weight, and this time I will set it to 100. And now it's sort of yellow. What we are achieved with this is I will show you just now. I will just create additional window for this. And I will go into animate. If I select the vertex map and if I sort of change this strength value, you can see that now it's blending in between 100 and 0%. I will go back into 100%, and the only thing that is sort of rest to do is to generate a nice fall-off. To generate nice fall-off, you need to go into this deformer tab and use morph deformer. In a morph, place this pose morph tag, just like this. And now I can go into fall-off, and you can choose whatever fall-off type you want. I will use a spherical one for this, and this is cool. Now we need to animate scale. So it will be scale animation. Of course, it can go about 100%. And in order to create that nice sort of fall-off, you need to use this spline function. Just create 3 points, 2 points on a 0%, and in the middle I need 100%. And now this is that sort of fall-off. I can fine-tune this by increasing or decreasing this fall-off value. This is up to you to decide what value you want. Let's say that this is enough for me. And let's see. Of course, you can create multiple morph pose morph tags, or sorry, pose morph deformers, and they will work. For instance, we can set this one here, just like that. Create additional one and move it here, or not. Oh, not, sorry, my bad. You can use only one. If there is a way to use multiple ones, please you can tell me and I will update that in a description. Of course, if we are finished with this, I will, let's say, go to 150%, and now let's jump into Octane magic. For this guide, I'm using V3 version of the Octane renderer. You can see which version is I'm using right here. It's the, I guess, most current one. So let's send this geometry to a frame buffer. Refresh this. It will take some time to send that geometry inside Octane renderer, because we have, let's see, we have 700,000 polygons. It's quite a lot, almost a million of polygons. Of course, now we don't see anything. I will create, first of all, let me just click this, and I will create Octane area light, rotate it maybe at 90 degrees, just like that, placed way above this geometry, like way above. Scale it up. Okay, I almost always disable this normalize, I don't know why, and let's give it just slide 2 or just 1. Give me a second just to enable and disable my alpha channel, since I don't need to see this checkerboard. Okay, I'm satisfied for now, and now let's create Octane material. I will use Octane diffuse material and drag and drop it onto my sweep geometry. Excuse me, I have to smoke cigar. Yes, I know, bad habit, but what can I do? And uh, what I found the sort of bad thing about Octane is that every time when you drag and drop a material onto the geometry, it will reload that geometry. And if you have dense mesh like for 2 million, 3 million polygons, it can take a while. And this is something that I don't like in Octane, I guess. But Octane is so awesome that whatever I don't like, it doesn't matter. It's a rocking solid rendering engine. So in Octane, I prefer to use Node Editor. Node Editor is the most awesome way to generate shaders, materials, whatever. It's so flexible, it's so fast to use. I highly recommend to get used to a Node Editor. If you are using standard way to create materials, like create, shaders here for the Octane material, and then using this dialog to tweak these parameters, I guess that you are doing it wrong. Trust me. In about 1 day, you will get used to this, and your life will be changed forever. Trust me. Okay, let's generate some. First of all, I will create a emissive texture. So I will use black body. Okay, plug it into emission. I will check the surface brightness, and we don't need 100%, so maybe 5 or so. Try 10. Okay, and for the diffuse color, I will choose a gray one. Okay, so we will now generate some nice noise parameter to make it a bit more interesting, to create something more than just a plain solid, color like a or single red one. I will create something colorful. So let's grab a noise, and I will plug noise into a texture. Okay, so far it's awful. I will use a projection node and transform node. In the transform node, I will enable this lock aspect ratio, I guess. Oh, it's wrong spelled here. Aspect ratio. I will crank it to, let's say, 25. And in a texture projection, I can use XYZ to UVW. It doesn't matter. I can use a box one if I want, but I will use this one. And for the position, I will instead object space use a roll space. Now let's fine tune this noise. I will play with the gamma and contrast. So far so good. Let's just crank a bit more. You see, now it's updating. For now, I will go into option, check geometry, enable, check geometry, all movable. So disable all these parameters just to help us a bit, since I won't reload geometry anymore, I guess. Let's back into a noise, and let's play with this. This is cool. I can increase the octaves and omega. That can create some more, randomness and more details into a noise. Okay, this is cool. In this transform, I will probably go into 15 or so. Okay, so this is noise 1. I will select and move it up. I will copy this noise. Now we will create something like more detailed noise. For this one, I will set scale to a 4 and probably bring down the omega a lot, like this. And we can, instead of Perlin, choose a circular. Chips are nice. Now I just need to fine crank this parameter. Okay, I don't like chips. Oh, turbulence, yeah, good old turbulent noise. So this is good, and now I will multiply these two noises. So multiply node, and okay. Now let's play with this omega a bit. Okay, sorry, gamma and contrast. Now it's up to you to find some nice sort of result. Let's see which one is more detailed. Okay, now this one looks like total crap. Mhm. Now, what can I do? I can multiply this noise, I guess, with a not fall off with a float value. And let's see what we are getting here. We are getting nothing. Okay. Maybe plug a gradient node and play with a contrast a bit. Okay, this one is a bit better. But still there are too many dark parts. That's something that I don't like. Okay, this will be good for now. You know, you can spend hours in this playing and trying to find a nice noise parameter, but I don't have that precious time at the moment. Now let's generate some colors, of course. The easiest way to generate that nice colors is to plug in a gradient node in between multiply and the black body emission. And now instead of this black to white, we can remap those colors into something a bit more interesting. So maybe a dark purple. Okay, this is too bright. Maybe just a few percent, 2%. Instead of white, I can use something like this, and maybe we can plug some color in between. Okay. I will definitely create a bit more brighter color right here. Okay, and now I will go back into this noise and try to tweak it a bit. Okay, this is good, and I can experiment additionally with maybe a color correction node. So plug in a color correction and play with the hue and saturation. This looks like crap. So gamma and contrast. This is a bit better, not perfect, but you know, better. And I can plug that same gradient back into a diffuse channel. Okay, now let's implement that vertex map follow that we are created. I need to go into vertex map, this vertex maps tag. I need to select vertex map, and I need to introduce additional multiply node and multiply that vertex map just like that. Now I guess that I need to re-enable that geometry checking. Now let's see if this works. It should work, of course. Yeah, there it is. Now let's play with, you know what I like to do? I like to create a camera, go into for the Octane tag, place that camera tag parameter and enable glow. You know, glow is something that I like the most. This is the thing that I bought Octane like 4 years ago. You know, this post processing tab bought me. Trust me, it's really awesome. Now let's increase this light strength to, let's say, maybe a 6 or a bit more, maybe, I don't know, 10, 20. And we start to see that these nice color changes. Let's open this node editor again, and let's try to increase the power to 50. Okay, definitely decrease the blue power. Okay, okie dokie, and now let's try to find some interesting frame. Okay, I will go into cameras, set perspective, display color shading, and simply try to find some nice focus point. Let's focus right here. In this Octane tag, I will go into, I guess, stillness. and disable the autofocus and crank the aperture to insane value of 15. Okay, let's try to find some nice focusing point. Okay, I definitely need few more bounces of the light. So in diffuse depth I will increase it to, let's say, 7. Maybe that helps or not. Or maybe I can create additional Octane light. I will reset the position of this one, sorry, not that view, this view. And let's scale it a bit. One nice thing is cinema is that you can use any object as a camera. So I will select the second light, go into cameras and set active object as a camera. And now we see through that light. So let's light this piece with additional light. I'll disable the first one and most probably I will disable emission. Here just see where my light hits. So let's light it from, let's say, this position maybe. Increase the power to some insane value of 75 billion or so. 200 and enable normalize, maybe a 500 or so, and definitely decrease the aperture value to 8 or so. Now this looks like nothing. Camera, use default camera. I will maybe increase that. Okay, let's try to reposition that light somewhere else. Maybe the position of light is bullshit. Okay, better. What I can do is go into this node editor and multiply this gradient with a float, and just to bring down these colors a bit more, or not, you know, there is an even better way. I can color correct this. Oh crap, sorry, my cinema just crashed. I will continue where I were. So a better way to do that is connect this to a diffuse and just use the color correction node, color correction, and instead of a full saturation I will say like 0.1, 0.02, no, 0.5. I just need to find some nice value. You know, the one downside of this vertex map method is every time that when you change something to a vertex maps parameter, I guess that almost the whole geometry needs to reload because Octane by default doesn't support this feature. This feature was implemented by Ahmed, the plugin developer, and this is sort of a hack. You know, plugin generates some images, and via that images it generates sort of a vertex map, something like let's say a fake implementation of that, and generating those images takes time, and that's why like you have to reload your geometry in rendering times. When you're rendering animation with this method, that it doesn't matter if your geometry is stationary. Octane needs to reload it every time in order to render it, you know. That's a downside, but I guess it's not hard to swallow that kind of thing, because what you can achieve with this method is awesome. So let's continue with experimenting a bit more. So I guess that's it, you know, for this short guide. Of course, this is a sort of a quick demonstration of what you can do with this vertex map method. The results that we are generated here are not, you know, like impressive or something, but if you try to create something for a few hours, or maybe if you spend one day creating something with this method, you can get really nice results. And that's it for that's all for this sort of video. guide, video tutorial, call it whatever, and if you have any further questions, feel free to ask me. uh, I will uh, I will answer to you. And once again, thanks for watching this and have a great day. Bye.